except people were waiting outside. And I'm trying to do the sound with this microphone, so it's a little weird.
Oh.
So hopefully we don't burst any eardrums when sound happens. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to my panel on Batman. And it's one of the first panels of Sabaku Con. There's like 5 all going on now, so that's awesome that we all get to start with Batman. Who is like major Batman fans in here?
Pretty much.
Nice. And if not, that's cool because I'm just happy to talk about Batman for like 30 minutes. Yeah, so the panel is like, I have an hour. This will be about 30 minutes, and then if you guys have questions after, I'm going to figure that out when we get to the sound. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about, like the panel title is, why Batman's an optimist, and how you can use that in your life. Yeah, just like the panel title, no surprises there. So who am I to be talking to you about Batman? I've been a Batman fan for as long as I can remember, watching Batman the Animated Series, and I had Batman pajamas when I was little with like a detachable cape. And I pretty much only cosplay Harley Quinn. I decided to include like my first one, which is pretty terrible, and I'm cosplaying now. So essentially I'm like a huge Batman nerd. So you can trust what I say about Batman. And you can, see that I think he's an optimist. Alright, so one of the first things I hear when I'm like, Batman's an optimist, and people are like, no he's not. They're like, look at him. Look at this face. He's never smiling. He always looks grumpy. That's not an optimist. But what is an optimist, really? So I looked up this stock image to get for this panel, and it's one of the first ones that comes up when you Google optimism. And I think a lot of misperception about optimism is it's always being happy all the time, and that's why they're like, Batman's not an optimist, because he's not happy, ever. In fact, sometimes he should be sad, like the fact that this guy is smiling and all the rest are sad. Maybe they have a really good reason for it, and maybe he's just kind of crazy. Just a psychopath. There's something terrible going on, like a mass murder. It's like, nice. Alright, so what is an optimist? I just looked up this dictionary definition on dictionary.com, and I like the first 3 most for this panel. So first is a disposition or a tendency to look on the more favorable side of events or conditions and expect the most favorable outcome. And 2 is the belief that good ultimately predominates over evil in the world. And 3 is the belief that goodness pervades reality. So I'm going to go through Batman and all these and explain why he's an optimist. Sorry that this is weird. I couldn't fix it. So first I'm going to go through his situations and then his thoughts and behaviors, and then what he actually says to prove these points. So first we're going to do situations. And again, another thing I hear after the like, he's always frowning, he looks gloomy, he's like breeding on gargoyles in the cities, and is like, well, Batman can't be an optimist. His parents were murdered in front of him when he was 8. Or, well, he can't be an optimist because he has to deal with this shit all the time. And particularly this shit with Jason Todd and Batgirl and the new creepy Joker who's got his face cut off. They're like, anyone who has to deal with all that all the time is not an optimist. Well, I have a quote from a scholarly article that came out this year by Birkeland. They said, optimism had a protective stabilizing effect, which occurs when a protective factor contributes to stabilize an individual's positive functioning in the face of risk. So basically, you can be an optimist despite difficult circumstances, and being an optimist in difficult circumstances helps you get through them. And so, a great example of this is from Batman Begins, when he falls into the Batcave thing and gets spooked. His dad, when he comes to get him, says, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. So it's not the bad situation, it's how you react to it makes you an optimist. So that's why I think that just because he's dealing with all that shit all the time, still an optimist. Next, I said I would talk about thoughts and behaviors. So another thing I hear next is Batman pushes people away and he's always preoccupied with death. So how is this an optimist? Well, I think this is also kind of unrelated to his optimism, just like his situation, and I think that his pushing people away and being preoccupied with death is actually because he got PTSD when his parents were killed in front of him. So now the criteria is the person was exposed to death, threatened death, actual or threatened serious injury, direct exposure, or witnessing the trauma. So not only did he witness his parents get killed right in front of him, which would just be traumatic, but he also, I think it's reasonable to assume you would think he would be next if your parents get shot, and then you're like, I'm 8. And then in the New 52 comics, he keeps being preoccupied with that. He keeps saying, like, just waiting for that third gunshot, for that third bullet that never comes. So some of the symptoms of PTSD, it's good to talk about, like, mental disorder, since I'm just as Harley Quinn, is the re-experiencing nightmares, flashbacks, physical reactivity, and for trauma-related arousal, irritability, risky behavior. Being Batman is pretty risky behavior, hypervigilance, heightened startled reaction, and difficulty sleeping. Have all of you guys seen Lego Batman? Alright, so in the trailer, I think they have this in the trailer, when Alfred comes up to him and he's brooding on his parents' photo, and then he kicks Alfred into the piano because he's startled, that would be a heightened startled reaction right there. And I have a little bit of a spoiler from Lego Batman, but don't think it's enough to ruin it unless you guys oppose, because it's not like the main thing. So these are some photos from it. He takes this photo with his parents before they get murdered in that alley. And then later on in the film, he's feeling pretty good about working with Robin and Barbara Gordon and Alfred. And he's like, yeah, maybe I can be a team. Maybe I can not work alone. And then Robin takes a picture of him and sends him right back to this, being like, oh, I have to push them away because they're going to die because we took a picture together. And when I took a picture with my parents, they died. It's the same thing. So although PTSD can cause you to be less optimistic, one of the symptoms is having a worse outlook on the world. It's not a necessary symptom. So I think that him pushing people away and being preoccupied with death doesn't really relate to that. Now we're going to get into some of my favorite stuff, which is what he says. So the first thing is, Batman always expects the worst outcome. You just said in the first definition that he's expecting the most favorable outcome, but he always seems to expect the worst outcome. Well, I would say he plans for the worst outcome, maybe because of his PTSD hypervigilance, maybe because of his intense training, but he actually constantly says he expects the best outcome. And now we're going to start getting into some sound, and hopefully it will work.
So, it's the world's greatest detective versus the world's deadliest assassin. Who's going to win? Not him.
Can you hear that? Okay. One's quieter later, so that might be more difficult. Yeah, but he said not him. He's like, I'm going to win. And also with the Joker breaking out of Arkham all the time, I'm like, expecting the Joker to break out of Arkham isn't so much optimism or pessimism, that's just realistically what's gonna happen. Like, he's broken out like...
You should just expect it.
He's broken out like, I don't know, 100 times, and it's just like reasonable to be like, and he's gonna break out again. But then Batman always expects to beat him and put him back in Arkham.
Ready for the next round? What? I'll never let you win.
Yeah, so that was just, it's fun to put in video so I don't just have to hear, you don't have to hear me talk the whole time. That's from Arkham Asylum, so it's just showing that he's expecting to beat him all the time, no matter what. So that goes with optimism definition 1, the disposition or tendency to look on the more favorable sides of the event or expect the most favorable outcome. Seems like he's always expecting the most favorable outcome, even if he is preparing for the worst one. And the next 2 definitions are about people being good. Like, the second one is belief that good ultimately predominates over evil in the world. And 3 is the belief that goodness pervades reality. And throughout, like, all the stuff with Batman, he's constantly saying he believes that people are good. So I'm going to show from The Dark Knight when the Joker has the 2 boats and one has to blow the other one up.
Thank you. No problem.
Yeah, so we just started in the next part with Batman believing people are good. So I'm going to show from The Dark Knight that when the Joker has 2 boats and one has to blow the other one up, or he's going to blow them both up, and Batman's reaction to that. And I'm having difficulty with the sound, that's why I have to keep doing this.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise we'll miss the fireworks. There won't be any fireworks. What were you trying to prove? That deep down, everyone's exactly as you. You're alone.
Cool, so then that was also showing he expects the best outcome, because he was saying when the Joker says, we're going to miss the fireworks, he's like, there's not going to be any fireworks, because he's like, that is how I want it to go. But also, he believes that's not going to happen, because he believes people are good. And then he tells the Joker, like, you're alone, no one else is like you. And perhaps my strongest evidence yet for this point that he believes people are good is also one of my favorite clips that I have in this, and also one of the quietest, so I'm hoping that'll work out with this. It's from The Killing Joke, which the animated one just came out recently, but it's in the comic too. It's just I can't show you the comic page easily. Okay, is that up all the way?
Now it is.
Cool.
This time. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want either of us to end up killing the other. But we're running out of alternatives. Perhaps it all hinges on tonight. I don't know what it was that bent your life out of shape, but maybe I've been there too. Maybe we could work together. I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other. Let me help you. I'm sorry, but no. No. It's far too late for that.
I hope you guys heard that okay. Cool, so just in case you didn't, I think that this shows that Batman thinks that people are good, because even after everything the Joker's done in The Killing Joke, especially, like in this one, he's just crippled Batgirl and Barbara Gordon, and then he kidnapped Commissioner Gordon and tried to make him crazy, and he was about to shoot Batman with the gun, and but after all that, Batman still believes that even the Joker has the ability to change and be good if given the proper chances. And if that's not optimism, I don't know what is. Like, thinking that the